Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome. Welcome to the live virtual classes organized by the Board of Studies Academic ICAI for CA Foundation, Paper 3, Quantitative Aptitude. Today's topic is last but not least, we can say that index numbers. Very interesting chapter. And the subject is part of the statistics. And as per the examination point of view, we can expect maximum number of questions is 6 questions from this chapter. That means 6 marks are expecting from this chapter also be. Index numbers is quite interesting and easy to understand also be, and it is all based on the preconditions, predetermined formulas are also be. And here we have the basically like formulas like simple index numbers and quantity index numbers, and like so aggregate index numbers, that is the price, as well as the quantity index numbers are also be there as a part of this syllabus actually. And next one is the value index numbers are also. When we have the types of index number, when we talk about that, price index numbers and index quantity index numbers and value index numbers. In that, actually we start from the simple index numbers, aggregate index numbers, as well as the simple average relatives are also be, and weighted index numbers are also weighted methods. And it is consisting of the prices as well as the quantities given in the price as base period as well as the current period also. We compare from the base year to current year, how much quantity or volume of the quantity volume is changed, as well as in terms of the volume. We want to find in terms of like a production index, or like we want to talk about the price index numbers. What is the change level in the prices also be over a period of time also be. These are all main economic scenarios and the changes in the country also be. And these things are very important to understand the changes in the economy also be. And here we have the last price index numbers and Posh's index numbers, and Marshall Edgeworth index numbers, and we have the like, research index numbers is also be there, and weighted average relative methods are also be there. And similarly, the same chain index numbers and like the link index numbers are also be there. And we talk about the quantity index numbers like a same, like a simple aggregate method, simple average method. And when we come to the weightage aggregate quantities, like simple last bias partials and Fishers and Marshall Edgeworth also be there. And the value index numbers are also be part of the syllabus. It is given, and deflating the index time series numbers as only formula is a very important for the examination point of view. And further moving to, I am seeing that what are the properties also be like what are the means the test of adequacy also very important. Now I don't want to waste my time. Sorry is with you, and he will be explained very well. I'm very much confident. If you concentrately listen this topic with his lectures, so 6 out of 6, if ask also be, I'm sure about that. That 6 marks already in your pocket also be that. This is the beauty of the topic and the beauty of the lecture also. I can say that, and I can appreciate RJ Chakravarti sir also be, and we are lucky enough to hear for his section also be. Once again, welcome you, sir, for
Thank you, sir.
beautiful lecture.
Thank you, sir.
Over
Very
to you,
good
sir.
afternoon.
Over to you, sir.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. So very good afternoon to sir and all the students who are part of this live virtual class organized by the Board of Studies Academic. And sir has already given us, I will say, the drone shot, as we call it, the drone shot of the entire chapter, including the important principles, the properties of index numbers. He has highlighted the important types of index numbers, both price, quantity, value, as well as the important factor that 6 questions you can expect. So it's a very important topic, and I will only say that this topic on index numbers, we can say that index numbers is like the economic barometer. So as sir mentioned that in course of your CA journey, you are already studying economics, and you are all aware about the concept of inflation, and you have the consumer price index. You are definitely aware about purchasing power, right? So index numbers is linked with the entire concept, and it has a number of applications in the field of economics and in other branches of including management, of course. So looking at first the entire subject of index numbers, which is chapter 18. So we will first delve into the types of index numbers, the construction, and of course, we will move into the price index. We will understand quantity index and value index. Then how to deflate the index numbers, splicing, and how do we create chain index numbers through the link relatives, that we will understand. And sir mentioned about the tests of adequacy, which is the property of index numbers. So this is very important, and there are 4 important tests. So we have the unit test, and then we have the TRT, as we call it, the time reversal test, then FRT, that is the factor reversal test, and the circular test. And we will definitely look into the important formula for the last periods index, the past years index, the Marshall-Edgeworth index, and the Fisher's index. Fisher's index, many of you might be knowing that this is Fisher's index is ideal. It's known as the ideal index. So these are the areas, and of course we will have a deep dive into the important questions. We will try and solve as many questions as possible. So you can see that index numbers often, it is known as in Hindi, if you see Suchak Ank, Suchak, index is a Suchak. So this is a statistical tool, and the intention is it will map or it will identify the change in the price or the quantity or the value of the current year with respect to the base year, right? So this is what index number is all about. So we will first see the concept of index number, and we will learn the basic construction of index number. And as I was mentioning, that index number is often referred to as the economic barometer, because you know 2 simple examples: wholesale price index, WPI, wholesale price index, you know, consumer price index, CPI. So every day, if you open the, say, for example, business page of any newspaper, if you refer to any website on India's economic situation, or even if you look at the RBI, the RBI website, you will see that these terms, consumer price index and wholesale price index, these are continuously calculated by the government every month. That means you can see the movement in the index is a matter of continuous evaluation by the government. This shows the importance of index numbers from the economic point of view. Another very simple and yet a very, I would say, very important example, that is when you think of the stock market. So the first barometer of the stock market, when you think of, is in India, for example, is the Sensex. Now, what is the Sensex? It is the sensitive index. Similarly, you have this is for BSE, for the NSE, you have the Nifty, which is also an index. So we can see price index has a lot of applications in economics, even in the world of capital markets. And when it comes to the index numbers, the most important index numbers for our curriculum, we have the last periods index. So we will see the price, the quantity index, and then the numerator denominator for the last periods index. Then we will understand the past years index. There is yet another index which is called the Dovish-Bolles index. In short, it is often referred to as the Bolles index, and this is equal to the arithmetic mean of the Laspires and the Pastures index. Then Marshall-Edgeworth, where you will find that the quantity taken is the average of the base year and the current year. And of course, again, for every chapter, we were identifying the best performer or the champion, right? So we saw for dispersion, for example, standard deviation. When we were discussing theoretical distributions, I'm sure you remember that normal distribution emerged as a champion. So here again, in the world of index numbers, we will find very soon in the next few minutes that Fisher's index number is like the champion, you call it. And that is why it is referred to as the ideal index number. Then, of course, the chain index, shifting of the price index. Then we have the adequacy tests, and we will understand all the four methods, all the four types of test. That is the unit test. We have the time reversal test or the TRT, the factor reversal test, FRT, and the circular test. Then, of course, the limitations of index numbers and the importance in the CA course. If you see index number, why are we studying it? So first is the intention is that we understand the practical use of index numbers. Similarly, the fact that index number is a statistical method or manner of depicting economic data as well as business data. Plus, the intention is that we understand both the construction and the usage, plus the applications, of course, and the different methods. So we should be clear about what is price index, what is quantity index, and what is value index. And thereafter, we look into, of course, the applications. So first we see what is index number. So index number is nothing but a fraction. So you have something like a numerator and the denominator, and it shows the numerator gives you the price or the quantity of the current year, and the denominator indicates the corresponding price or the quantity in the base year. So base year, इसको कैसे दिखाया जाता है? How to denote the base year? It is denoted by 0. 0 year is called the base year. So this is the year of reference. So for example, if you think of say 1995 or 2000 as the base year, and you might calculate the value of a particular item or the quantity consumed of a particular commodity this year, 2026, and you can compare it with the base year, and you get a sort of an index number. So index number, as we see, is basically the price or the quantity or the value of the current year divided by the corresponding item in the base year. So this shows how much the price has increased. And dear students, you are all having a very good understanding of the concept of inflation because you are studying economics as well, and you can now see the relationship or the connectivity between statistics and economics. And tools like index numbers, these are acting as a bridge between economics and statistics. So index number is the current year quantity or the current year price divided by the base year price or the base year quantity. And base year, what is base year? In Hindi, we use the term Aadhar Varsh. That means it is the year which is reference year. Current year is always known as the Vartaman Varsh, current year. So therefore, जिस पुराने साल से हम तुलना करते हैं, कंपेयर करते हैं, उसे हम लोग बेस ईयर कहते हैं. It is known as the base. That means the year of reference. और उसको हम लोग जीरो से इंडिकेट करते हैं. जिस साल का बदलाव निकालना है, उसी ईयर को हम लोग करंट ईयर के हिसाब से we denote it by the term current year. So therefore, when we were discussing the measures of central tendency, we saw that arithmetic mean is a very good method or a measure of showing the central tendency. Similarly, index number is used to represent the changes in the value or in the price of cost, in the quantity over two or more different periods in time. We often say that the purchasing power has declined. Oh, the price is going up. There is an inflation. So how do we measure it? So we look at the price of a commodity this year and the price of the same commodity in the base year, that means year zero. And now we can see the extent of change, either increase or decrease, whatever be the case. So index number, therefore, is a ratio of two or more. It could be price, it could be quantity, but here we are comparing the current year's value over the base year value. And therefore, index number is always a unit-free number. So index number has no unit, like it is not linked with kilograms or centimeter or liter or rupees. It is unitless. Why? Because you are just dividing the price of a commodity this year, divided by the price of the same commodity in the base year. So therefore, the unit gets cancelled out. So please remember that index number is just like a fraction, you can call it. We are just trying to find out the price or the quantity consumed in the current year divided by the same corresponding price or quantity in the base year. And the value of the base time period is known as the reference point. And we can see number of practical examples, like I was mentioning about the consumer price index, the wholesale price index. And many of you who are ardent followers of the stock market, you love in the world of investment, you track the changes in the NSE Nifty or in the BSE Sensex, or maybe when you think of the global indices, you have the Dow Jones, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, then you have Kospi, Hang Seng, Nikkei in Tokyo, and so many indices. So for every country, the stock market index is nothing but an example of a composite index number. So this brings us to the next topic, that is index numbers can be both simple or composite. So when we are comparing or calculating the index of one variable, one particular item, so maybe the price of 1 kg of wheat or rice today and the price of 1 kg of rice maybe in the base year, let's take the base year as 2010. So now you can see how many times the price of rice has increased. Similarly, for the last few years, we have observed changes in, say, the cost or the price of petroleum products. For example, petrol, diesel, right? So you can map that, okay, if 2010 is the base year, 1 liter of petrol was costing so much. Today it is costing so much. So you can find out how much the price has increased. And please remember that the base year, it is the 0 year. So the price is considered as 100, right? So this is basically what we have. The concept of simple and composite means when we are finding out we have multiple variables, multiple products. We want to find out the multiple prices, for example, the stock market index. So this is an example of a composite index, which is calculated for 2 or more variables. So therefore, most of the index numbers which we use in practical life, like say wholesale price index, or when you think of the CPI, the consumer price index. So this is a composite index. Why? Because in our daily life, we have so many commodities, we have food items, we have some essential food items. For example, the importance of say rice or wheat, or say something like pulses, cereals. So this has a lot of importance or a weightage in everyday life. As compared to this, maybe sugar or salt may have a little less importance. But definitely, when we compute the CPI or the wholesale price index, we take into account number of commodities and products. The stock market index, it represents the entire financial health of the stock market. That's why you know that in the stock market index is often referred to as the barometer. I'm sure you know what is barometer. Like when we measure the temperature, what do we use? We use a thermometer. Similarly, for measuring the atmospheric pressure, so we might use a barometer, right? You must have done in science in your high school. You must have remembered that mercury is used in case of the barometer when you want to find out the changes in the atmospheric pressure. So therefore, this barometer, what we do for finding out or we want to know the atmospheric pressure, we use a barometer. But in the world of the stock market, the financial barometer is nothing but the stock market index. Like the BSE, we have the Sensex or the NSE Nifty. So index value in case of the stock market is nothing but the total market capitalization for the current day. That means current period divided by the total market capitalization of the previous day or the base. Maybe it's calculated on a base. So in this way, index values are determined. Consumer price index, cost of living index, or retail price index. So these are index numbers which measure the effect of changes in the price of a basket of goods, as I mentioned. And each of these goods will have a weightage. And it could be goods, it could be a composition of goods and services. And this is also linked with the purchasing power of the individual, a person. And therefore, here also the current year's value is compared with the base year value. So this is how we can see the practical applications of index numbers, both in economics as well as in the world of the stock markets. So once again, the basics which comes up, index numbers definitely can be referred to as the economic barometer. It is a very useful way of expressing economic data, and all index numbers, in a sense, it is a figure either reflecting the price or the quantity or the value of the current year divided by that of the base year. Therefore, the base year or the reference year or the 0 year, as we call it, has an index number of 100. And so if I say that the index number of a commodity in the base year is 100 and the index of the same commodity today is 150, so the base year is 100 and today the index is 150. That means the price of that commodity has increased by 50% because the base year is 100 and today it is 150. So you can see the increases to the tune of 50%. And the index number is expressed definitely as 100 times the ratio. So please note, as I said earlier, index number has no unit. That means index number जिसे हम लोग कहते हैं unit free. So neither will it have dollar or neither will it have kilograms. It is just unit free. Shuddha Sankhya, as we call it in Hindi, it is a pure number. And examples, index of house prices, index of human development index nowadays being implemented and followed and evaluated in different states in India and other countries. Then you have the CPI, index of production. There is another term which many of you might be knowing, IIP, the index of industrial production, IIP. And you will find that the government of India, every month, they are continuously calculating the IIP. That means they are trying to see the changes in the IIP, the index of industrial production, in the current month or in the current period, like current quarter or the current year, with reference to the base year or the base period, right? So these are practical examples of index numbers. Now once again, so I hope you must have understood the base year concept. So it is a reference year, and we have to remember that the base year should be selected very carefully. Base year जब हम लोग select करेंगे, काफी उसको जब select करने से पहले एक चीज देखना है कि base year एकदम stable होना चाहिए. There should be perfect economic stability in the base year, क्योंकि base year के ऊपर अगर base year itself is biased, maybe there was a, say for example, the pandemic, or there was a war, or there was economic recession. In that case, that particular year should not be selected as the base year. So base year should be absolutely normal, जिसमें कोई भी instability नहीं होनी चाहिए. So there should be no extraordinary events like war, famine, recession, pandemic. It should be absolutely stable. Please remember this, because base year इस basis पे सारे calculations होंगे. So अगर base year itself is unstable, what will happen? So base year is like the foundation of a building, and you are calculating all the index numbers, comparing it with the base year. So base year बिल्कुल stable होनी चाहिए, otherwise the calculations of the current year prices, quantity will become biased, and it will not serve the practical purpose. So it should be also the second important criteria. So एक आपको नोट करना है कि base year ऐसी ईयर को सिलेक्ट करनी चाहिए जहां पे काफी स्टेबल था. इट शुड बी relatively stable, economically stable, no extraordinary events like war, famine, or recession. Second is it should be recent. क्योंकि आज 2026 में if I want to compare the price of a commodity in 2026 with the price in 1995, now that is too far back. So we should think of a recent year. ऐसा एक वर्ष हम लोग को चुनना पड़ेगा जो कि recent भी होगा, संग संग ऐसी वर्ष है जहां पे there is no instability. So ये दो बहुत खास, very special two characteristics of the base year. Then of course we need to select weights when we are constructing a composite index. उसमें हर चीज का, जैसा मैं बता रहा था, चावल, गेहूं, आटा, उसके साथ मान लीजिए कुकिंग ऑयल, उसके साथ मान लीजिए नमक. So whatever we use in daily life, food items for example, okay, the price of vegetables, the price of cereals, butter, milk products, so these all will be considered within the basket, right? But then weights should be important, क्योंकि weights will ultimately give rise to the total value, and therefore in the computation of cost of living index, the weight has to be calculated and finalized very carefully. For example, you can see on the slide I have added one example, that sugar cannot be given the same importance as cereals, because we do not consume sugar to the extent we consume staple cereals like rice or wheat or maize. Right? I hope you understand. Similarly, the quantity of milk, the quantity of bread and fruits which we consume cannot be compared with the quantity of tea or coffee which we consume every day. So therefore, the weights are very important. So please remember that these are actual practical factors which the government of India considers before they finalize the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. Of course, we will see that average measures of central tendency has a lot of practical value in the calculation of index numbers. And dear students, you may remember that while covering the topic, the chapter 14 on the measures of central tendency, I had referred to the fact that index numbers is one of the applications of central tendency. So arithmetic mean, geometric mean, this is also used in the case of index number calculation. And here you can see that geometric mean is definitely better in averaging the relatives. However, we will find that in practical life, arithmetic mean is often used simply because, sometimes we say that simplicity decides the usage. So geometric mean हो सकता है कि technically arithmetic mean से superior है. Technically अगर आप बात करें, क्योंकि ये averaging में और bias को हटाने में geometric mean could be seen as a little better or more refined than arithmetic mean. But arithmetic mean is simple to calculate. I'm sure you will agree to that now that we have already completed the in-depth analysis of chapter 14 on central tendency. So I hope you can understand why the arithmetic mean is used more than the geometric mean. Of course, GM and AM both have their own pros and cons, no doubt about it. Now we look at the price relative. The first part, very simple, Pn divided by P0 into 100, and this is expressed as a percentage where Pn is the price of the commodity, of any commodity in the current year. P0 क्या है? P0 है price of the same commodity in the base year, and we just find out the ratio Pn divided by P0 and we multiply that by 100. Okay, so this is price index. Quantity index kya hai? So here no price is considered, only the quantity. So Qn, that means quantity consumed or used in the current year, divided by Q0, which is the quantity used in the base year, and then we multiply by 100. So now we come to the simple aggregated price index. Here we can see sigma Pn divided by sigma P0 into 100. So sigma, you know, means summation, integration. So aggregate price index, that means it is the summation of prices of different commodities in the current year divided by the total prices of the same commodities in the base year, and then we multiply by 100. So this is the simple aggregative price index. Clear? Now we proceed to the core concepts once again for your ready reference. So index number क्या है? ये एक statistical tool है जो कि आपको एक वेरिएबल पे जो चेंजेस हो रहा है, जैसे कीमत हो सकता है, उत्पादन, प्रोडक्शन, या फिर जो हम लोग वैल्यू कहते हैं, उसमें जो परिवर्तन जो हो रहे हैं, रिलेटिव चेंजेस इन परसेंटेज टर्म्स, यानी प्रतिशत, कितनी प्रतिशत. सो दिस इज शोन बाय द इंडेक्स नंबर, एंड एज यू कैन सी इसे हम लोग आर्थिक बैरोमीटर, दैट मींस इकोनॉमिक बैरोमीटर भी हम लोग कहते हैं. सेकेंड पॉइंट, प्लीज वंस अगेन रिकैप. बेस ईयर यानी आधार वर्ष, करंट ईयर यानी वर्तमान वर्ष, राइट? बेस ईयर क्या है? वो कौन सा वर्ष होगा? वो वर्ष जिससे हम तुलना करते हैं, यानी रेफरेंस ईयर, कंपैरिजन के लिए जो हम लोग ईयर को चुनेंगे उसे हम लोग बेस ईयर कहते हैं. प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट द बेस ईयर हैज टू इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर्स. Feature number one, the base year should be relatively stable. No famine, no war, no pandemic, no recession. And number two, the base year should be recent. बहुत पुराना अगर बेस ईयर अगर चुनेंगे तो इससे हम लोगों का इंडेक्स नंबर कैलकुलेशन में गलतियां होंगे. सो वी हैव टू सिलेक्ट अ कंपैरेटिवली रीसेंट ईयर, एंड ऐसे वर्ष को वी हैव टू चूज व्हिच इज स्टेबल, राइट? करंट ईयर मींस, करंट ईयर यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड, वर्तमान वर्ष, वह वर्ष जिसके लिए हम लोग परिवर्तनों का गणना कर रहे हैं, दैट इज द करंट ईयर. Price relative, we have seen Pn divided by P0 into 100, right? So these are the core concepts we have covered till now. Now we see the value index. So price index, we saw Pn divided by P0 into 100. Quantity index क्या होगा? Qn divided by Q0 into 100. Simple aggregative price index क्या है? Sigma Pn divided by sigma P0 into 100. Similarly, simple aggregative quantity index फिर क्या होगा? Sigma Qn divided by sigma Q0 into 100. So this is as simple. So this chapter is very interesting and simple, and as sir said in the beginning, 6 marks. So just with a little bit of practice, and once you go through the study material, you listen carefully to this LVC and practice as many problems as possible. Even with this much of preparation, I think, as sir said, definitely you can score 6 out of 6, because this chapter is technically not that difficult as some of the other chapters. And the concept is very simple. We have some plain and common formula, and therefore you do not have much complications even in the calculation part, right? So now we see value index. Value index kya hai? Value index means, let us see what is the definition first. So a value index, for example, the index, मान लीजिए, of a local departmental store. They want to find out that what is the value, or what is the, say for example, the total revenue I'm getting this year vis-a-vis, yeah, versus the total value which probably I got or I received maybe in 2015. चलिए 2015 पकड़ते हैं as the base year. That means इस साल, this year, the value is what? What is the value the departmental store is earning in terms of revenue? It will be price into quantity. For a particular commodity, for n number of items, it will be sigma P1 into Q1. या फिर Pn into Qn. That means the price multiplied by the quantity. Both price and quantity are of the current year. So in the numerator, आप देख सकते हो, we have sigma P1 into Q1. That means इस साल का price multiplied by इस साल का quantity. Current year's price. So the reference is current year now. Total value, right? So we can see the value is equal to, value index, as we say, is sigma Pn Qn or P1 Q1 divided by sigma P0 Q0 into 100. So P1 Q1 means you can say the value in the year 1. Pn Qn in general, you can say the value in the current year. P0 Q0 kya hai? The price of the base year multiplied by the quantity again of the base year. So value index kya measure kar raha hai? Value index is measuring the changes in both the price and the quantity. So we are comparing the price of today multiplied by the quantity consumed today divided by the price in the base period multiplied by the quantity again in the base period. So base में क्या value था, base year में, आज की date में क्या value है? As simple as that. So this is value index. So therefore, please remember, for the value index in the numerator, we have both the price and the quantity of the current year, and in the denominator, definitely we have the price and the quantity of the base year. Okay. Now we proceed next. Let's see what is there on the slide here. So value equals price multiplied by quality, as we discussed, and therefore the value index measures the total sum of the values in a given year. That means, say in this year, divided by the sum of the values of the base year, right? So we have discussed about what is index number, right? Number two, we have been learning about the applications of index numbers, how index numbers are constructed, what is price index, what is quantity index, and now we have understood, I'm sure, what is meant by value index. Please remember two other points. First is index number, iska koi unit nahi hota. That means we can say index number is a pure number and ek shuddh sankhya, as we call it. And number two is that when you consider the base year for the purpose of calculation of index number, two important factors we must keep in mind. Number one, the base year should be fairly recent. Number two, the base year should be a year of stability. So no extraordinary or fluctuating events should take place, right? So I hope you are following, you are understanding. Now we proceed next. Straight away, we move on to the next topic for our discussion, and that is the first example. On this slide, we are on slide number 5, and I request our dear students to look at the example. So here you can see P01, that means the index number, or you can say the price index of today of year 1 on the base year 0. So इसे हम लोग कैसे लिखते हैं? P01. That means base 0 year है और current year 1 है. So you can see on this slide, you have the formula P01, sigma P1 by sigma P0 into 100. जैसे हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे. P01 क्या है? It is the index number of the current year. Sigma P1 means it stands for the sum of the prices for this year, and sigma P0 is the sum of the prices of the base year. In this example, we have taken 4 commodities A, B, C, D. जैसे आप देख सकते हो, and the prices, this is just for the purpose of illustration. So we have taken year 1980, and the index is calculated for the year 1988. So the price of the particular commodity A, 1980 it was 10. Commodity B, आप देख सकते हो, 1980 price was 15. Commodity C, it was 40 rupees, and commodity D was costing 25 rupees in the base year. On the next, if you look at the next column, you can see now we have the prices in the current year. Same commodities, 1988 ka price, and then we have just added all the prices. That means base year, चारों commodity का total price क्या है? वो है sigma P0 जो कि है 90 in the example. In the current year 1988, as per our example on this slide, the total prices, the sum of the prices, sigma P1 comes to 145, and therefore the index number is sigma P1 divided by sigma P0 into 100. So you get P01. That means the index number, of course, ये आज जो example इस slide में है वो क्या है? ये price index है, because we are dealing with the changes in the price. So we can see that the index number of the current year is 161.11. That means अगर 1980 का जो overall price था उसको अगर हम लोग 100 पकड़ के चले, उस हिसाब से based on that 1988 का overall price is 161.11. So this is an example, first example of price index. That is, we have a aggregated price index. Next, we look at the second example for your reference. So here we can see the year 2015, 16, 17, 18 or 19. You can see the quantity. And we have in the third column, you can see there is a quantity index number which is given. Here we are assuming, चलिए base year के हिसाब से, let us take, we are assuming 2015 as the base year. So आप देख सकते हो कि base year में, even though we are actually consuming 200 kgs, for example, but the quantity index is shown as 100. And the value, maybe we have consumed food items worth 10,000 rupees, but the value index is shown as 100. Based on this, 2016, say the quantity we have consumed is 240. So keeping 2015 as the base year, please see for 2016, the quantity index number is what? Numerator में क्या है? 2016 में जो क्वांटिटी कंज्यूम किया गया यानी 240 divided by the base year quantity into 100. That means we are just using ratios, assuming the base year to be 100. We are just basically, I will say it's a unitary method we are following. जो स्कूल में बचपन में आप लोग पढ़े होंगे, यूनिटरी मेथड प्राइमरी स्कूल में. सो उसी का सफल प्रयोग है, लेकिन इसका बहुत सारे प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशंस, जैसा हम लोग बता रहे थे, इट इज देयर इन द रियल वर्ल्ड, बट एसेंशियली यू कैन सी द कॉन्सेप्ट इज वेरी सिंपल. 2017 द क्वांटिटी इंडेक्स फिर क्या है? 2017 220 इज द क्वांटिटी, लेकिन बेस ईयर क्या है? 200 है. So 220 divided by 200 into 100. In this way, we are getting the quantity index number. अभी चलेंगे in the fourth. Let us look at the fourth column, जो कि है value. So value में आप देख सकते हो कि slowly the value has increased, but on a scale of 100, if I convert, then I'm getting the value index of 2016. It comes to 124.8. but the value in the base year is always taken as 100, as you can see here. 2015 value index is 100. When 2016, the value index is 124.8. Let us look at 2019. 2019, the value is 20,480. So we have taken 20,480, but the value in the base year was 10,000. So we have taken 10,000 in the denominator और उसको हम लोग 100 से multiply करेंगे. So we are getting a value of 204.8. This is the value index number for 2019. So I hope you are able to see through these two examples how the index number is calculated and किस तरह से index number का calculation के साथ साथ both quantity index, price index और value index. So dear students, दोबारा देखिए, index number therefore means the value in the period of interest. Either हम लोग price निकालेंगे या फिर quantity index या फिर value index. लेकिन current year या फिर year of interest जिसमें हम लोगों का उत्सुकता है, interest here doesn't mean simple interest or compound interest. Interest here means that year where we are concerned with the movement of this year, right? So therefore you can see that value index, right? Value index, therefore, what is value index? You can see it is the value in the current year divided by, you can say, the value in the base year. And here we have seen the calculation of the value index, and we can see the movement in the value index. Year 1, it was, year 0 is 100, year 1, 124.8. In this way, it goes up, right? So therefore, price index, quantity index, and value index. Value index is calculated as the price of the current year into the quantity of the current year divided by the price of the base year multiplied by the quantity of the base year. Okay? We will do further calculations and lot of examples we will take. Now we look at the next point here, and therefore just a quick recap. You can see that तीन तरह के index numbers है. We have the price index, and in this slide we can see all the examples. So price index, quantity index, value index, तीनों का example is there on this slide for your easy understanding. And you can also see that base year को काफी बार हम लोग baseline कहते हैं. Baseline means जो एकदम base year, जो reference point है, right? And as you can see in this diagram, in the upper right corner of the slide, you can see baseline दिया हुआ है जो कि हमेशा 100 होगा. And year 1 में आप देख सकते हो the first point which you see here is 110. Year 2, it has gone up to a value which is more than 120, and third year it has come down to 90. So with respect to the base year, now we can see the fluctuation or the movement in the economic activity. So this is what is index number, and once again the important formula. Now we look at the methods या फिर index number कैसे calculate किया जाए. In the syllabus which we have of the QA paper in chapter 18, we are going to learn 4 important index numbers or 4 ways to calculate index numbers. First, we will take the most common and very often we use it, the last period index. In this year, what will happen? The base year quantity is used as the weight. इसका मतलब है that in the numerator, we will write sigma PNQ0, price of current year multiplied by the quantity of the base year, PNQ0. Denominator में P0Q0. That means price of the base year multiplied by the quantity of the base year. That means यहाँ पे, in case of last period index, we will take the base year quantity as the weights, both for the current year price as well as for the base year price. Now we look at the next one, purchase index. Purchase index, we will see that the current year quantity is used as the weight. That means purchase index we will write as sigma PNQN. Numerator में, denominator में क्या रहेगा? P0QN. Weights, quantity जो है वो करंट ईयर की क्वांटिटी होगा, बोथ फॉर द बेस ईयर एज वेल एज फॉर द करंट ईयर. प्लीज नोट दिस इज पास्टेज इंडेक्स. मार्शल एजवर्थ इंडेक्स, तीसरा जो इंडेक्स है, ये क्या है? इसमें जो क्वांटिटी हम लोग लेंगे, सो प्राइस इंटू क्वांटिटी, सिग्मा पीएन इंटू, जैसे इन केस ऑफ लास्पेरिस इंडेक्स वी आर फाइंडिंग आउट इन द न्यूमरेटर क्या है, सिग्मा पीएन क्यू जीरो. In case of pastures, we have sigma Pn into Qn. In case of Marshall Edgeworth, the quantity which we will take as the weight will be the average of the base year and the current year. That means इस बार weight क्या होगा? It will be basically Q0 plus Q1 by 2. This is Marshall Edgeworth. Fisher's ideal index. So in the case of Marshall Edgeworth, dear students, you can see that here the average, the quantity यानी weight जो होगा वो क्या है? वो है base year और current year का mean, arithmetic mean of the average. So Marshall Edgeworth index जो calculation हो रहा है, we are actually utilizing the concept of arithmetic mean. Now we move to the fourth one, Fisher's ideal price index. अभी ये आइडियल क्यों है, अभी ये चैंपियन क्यों है, थोड़े देर में हम लोग समझ जाएंगे. मेनी ऑफ यू हु हैव ऑलरेडी गॉन थ्रू दिस चैप्टर एंड डेफिनेटली मे हैव कंप्लीटेड ऑल द क्वेश्चंस, यू नो. ओके, सो द फिशर्स आइडियल इंडेक्स या फिर फिशर्स इंडेक्स नंबर इज नथिंग बट द ज्योमेट्रिक मीन, द जीएम ऑफ द लास्पेरस एंड द पास्चेस इंडेक्स. सो ये आइडियल क्यों है? क्योंकि फॉर द टाइमिंग प्लीज नोट कि जो इंडेक्स नंबर का कई सारे टेस्ट्स होते रहते हैं. दैट मींस वेदर द इंडेक्स नंबर इज एडिक्वेट, क्या ये प्रैक्टिकल है, इज इट यूजेबल, व्हाट इज द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द इंडेक्स नंबर. सो ये इंडेक्स नंबर का जो प्रॉपर्टी और जो एडिक्वेसी टेस्टिंग होता है, वहां पे हम लोग देखेंगे दैट फिशर्स इंडेक्स नंबर सेटिस्फाइज टू ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टेस्ट्स. एक है टाइम रिवर्सल, एक है फैक्टर रिवर्सल. सो इंडेक्स नंबर, फिशर्स नंबर को हम लोग अक्सर क्या कहते हैं? वी कॉल इट एज द आइडियल इंडेक्स नंबर. सो प्लीज नोट, आई हैव आल्सो रिप्रोड्यूस्ड इट इन हिंदी so that it becomes easy for everyone. लास्पेरियस वर्सेस पाश्चे दोनों सूचकांक है. लास्पेरियस का भी एक सूचक है और पाश्चे का भी एक सूचक है. दोनों यू कैन कॉल इट सूचक और सूचकांक. सो इन केस ऑफ लास्पेरियस हमेशा पुराने साल की क्वांटिटी यानी बेस ईयर की क्वांटिटी इज टेकन एज द वेट. दैट्स व्हाई वी आर यूजिंग Q0 यानी वजन, वेट माने वजन. बट इन केस ऑफ पास्चेस हमेशा नए साल या वर्तमान वर्ष, वर्तमान साल की जो क्वांटिटी है Q1, उसी को हम लोग वजन के हिसाब से मानते हैं. नाउ यू कैन हैव अ लुक एट द slide once again and you can see the Laspérez method. So P01 here is sigma P1 Q0 divided by sigma P0 Q0 into 100. Next we have the Pasch's method. So we see P1 Q1, sigma P1 Q1 divided by sigma P0 Q1 into 100. Yani in case of Laspérez method, we are using the base year quantity as the weights. But in case of Pasch's method, we are using the current year's quantity as the weights. Clear? Next point, Marshall Edgeworth. क्या है यहां पे? Please see the weights. Sigma P1 Q0 plus sigma P1 Q1. That means what? So we can write this as sigma P1 and then within bracket Q0 plus Q1. Dear students, please note in case of the ME index, yeah, Marshall Edgeworth index, the price index number, we can see that the weight which is used is nothing but the average or the simple average or the arithmetic mean of the base year and the current year's quantity, Q0 plus Q1. In Hindi, abhi now we will look at Fisher's index. Fisher's index is nothing but the geometric mean. So Fisher का जो आदर्श, ideal we use the term आदर्श सूचकांक. Fisher's index क्या है? ये लास्पेरिस और पास्चेस इंडेक्स का ज्योमेट्रिक मीन. जो हम लोग हिंदी में कहते हैं गुणोत्तर मध्य। तो गुणोत्तर मध्य जो है दैट इज द ज्योमेट्रिक मीन एंड दिस इज नथिंग बट द फिशर्स इंडेक्स। इसे आइडियल इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि ये काफी सारे यू कैन से काफी सारे टेस्ट एडिक्वेसी टेस्ट पास करता है, प्लस ये बायस जो है, बिकॉज वी विल सी दैट लास्पिरस इंडेक्स थोड़ा सा अपर बायस देता है एंड पास्टिस इंडेक्स थोड़ा सा लोअर बायस। ये दोनों बायस को फिशर्स इंडेक्स क्या करता है, बैलेंस कर देता है, खत्म कर देता है। सो इसीलिए और बहुत सारे प्रमुख जो टेस्ट ऑफ एडिक्वेसी वो भी अगर देखा जाए, थोड़ी देर बाद हम लोग देखेंगे कैसे वाई फिशर्स इंडेक्स इज नोन एज द आइडियल इंडेक्स। सो प्लीज सी ऑन दिस स्लाइड वी हैव गॉट लास्पिरस इंडेक्स, पास्टिस इंडेक्स, द मार्शल एजवर्थ price index, Fisher's index. Once again, you can see the Fisher's ideal formula on the right hand lower corner. You can see this is just the geometric mean. So square root of sigma P1Q0 by P0Q0. So the first one which you see here, sigma P1Q0 divided by P0Q0, the first part, ये क्या है? ये है लास्पिरस इंडेक्स मल्टीप्लाइड बाई दूसरा आइटम क्या है, सिग्मा P1Q1 डिवाइडेड बाई सिग्मा P0Q1। अब P1Q1 डिवाइडेड बाई P0Q1 क्या है, ये है पास्टिस इंडेक्स। सो यू कैन सी द आइडियल फॉर्मूला फिशर्स इंडेक्स इज नथिंग बट द स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ द लास्पिरस इंडेक्स एंड द पास्टिस इंडेक्स। इसका अर्थ यही है कि फिशर्स आइडियल फॉर्मूला इज a little more balanced और लास्पिरस इंडेक्स पास्टिस इंडेक्स का जो बायस होता है उसको ये खत्म कर देता है। सो दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ द फिशर्स इंडेक्स। नाउ वी सी ऑन द अपर राइट हैंड साइड ऑफ द slide you can see the Dorbish-Bowley index. Please keep a note of this also. Here the weighted price index is calculated using the arithmetic mean of the Laspirus index and the Pastis index. So if I denote Laspirus index as L, the letter L for Laspirus, L, and if I indicate the Pastis index by the letter P for Pasche, then I can write Bowley's index is equal to L plus P divided by 2. That means the Bowley's index is nothing but the arithmetic mean of the Laspirus index and the Pastis index number. As a result, जो मैं थोड़ी देर पहले बता रहा था, that Laspirus index का थोड़ा सा upward bias होता है और Pastis index का थोड़ा सा downward bias। ये दोनों bias को आयरन आउट यानी न्यूट्रलाइज यानी एलिमिनेट खत्म करना बहुत जरूरी है। Two index numbers are there, the Dorbish-Bowley index, which is also known as in simple terms Bowley's index. So Bowley's index is calculating the arithmetic mean of the Laspirus index and the Pastis index. So this removes a little bit of the upward bias and the downward bias. Also, Fisher's index number is the geometric mean of the Laspirus index and the Pastis index. So I can denote Fisher's index. मान लीजिए Fisher's index I write as F for Fisher. So F is equal to square root of L into P, where L is the Laspirus index and P stands for the Pastis index. Clear? I hope you are able to follow and understand. So we now proceed to the next point, that is the link relative and the chain index number. So what happens in case of the link relative is, now if there are practical issues in the application of index numbers, if it is desired to associate relatives to a common base, then we have to chain the results. हर साल का जो इंडेक्स या कैलकुलेशन जो आएगा प्राइस या क्वांटिटी, उसे हमें चेन करना पड़ेगा यानी लिंकिंग करना पड़ेगा। सो अंडर द मेथड ऑफ चेन इंडेक्स, फर्स्ट स्टेप इज टू फाइंड आउट द जो हम लोग कहते हैं लिंक रिलेटिव ऑफ एवरी ईयर। चेन इंडेक्स का फॉर्मूला क्या है, लिंक रिलेटिव ऑफ द करंट ईयर multiplied by the chain index of the previous year, और उसको हम लोग 100 से divide करेंगे. On this slide, now we have an example of link relative and chain index. So now we will see an example, and you can see an example comes up here. So 1979, say we are taking this as the base year, and the price of a commodity in 1979, say let us assume the commodity price was 750. So link relative, we are taking 79 as the base year. We have shown it as 100. Now 1980 में please note the price, absolute price, उस commodity का जो absolute price है वो है 500 रुपए. Link relative क्या होगा? 1980's price divided by 1979 price multiplied by 100. यानी basically unitary method है, or you have done similar things in the similar calculations in the chapter of ratio and proportion. So we can say that 500 जो क्या है 1980 का प्राइस है 500, 500 divided by the price of the base year यानी 750. So we can write current year price, that is 500, and base year price, that is 750. When you convert this to a scale of 100, it's just like ratio and proportion. So what we get on a scale of 100, now 1980's price obviously becomes what you see here, 500 by 750 into 100. So you are getting around 66.67, roughly 2/3. अगर हम लोग fraction की बात करें, 2/3 approx. So this is exactly, if you find out the ratio of the absolute prices, वो क्या है 500 by 750. उसको आप अगर if you bring it down to, if you divide it by say for example 50, you will get, ultimately if you simplify it, you will get the lowest factor which you will get is 2/3. If you just, in fact, you can just divide both numerator denominator by 250, you will get 2/3. So this is how we are finding link relative for 1980. Please note for 1981, now we are finding the link relative of 1981 with respect to the previous year. So link relative, we can see that for 1981, the absolute price कितना है 650, 650. 1980 का price क्या है 500 रुपए. So the link relative for 1981 we are doing now comes to 650 divided by 500 into 100. In this way, we are getting 130. So you can see all the link relatives. Finally, we are coming to the chain base index number. So the chain index number for 1980 works out to how much? Link relative, please see the formula. Link relative of the current year. Current year ka link relative multiplied by the chain index of the previous year. अब chain index of the previous year क्या है 100 base है. So therefore 66.67, which is the link relative of 1980, we divide it by 100 because we are ultimately going to find the index number, and we are dividing it by 100. Why? Because we can see percentage. We are ultimately calculating percentage. Multiply किस चीज से करेंगे? We will multiply it by the chain index of the previous year. So 66.67, which is the link relative of 1980, it is multiplied by the chain base index of 1979, and we divide it by 100. So we are getting the chain base index number of 1980, which works out to 66.67. Now let us go to the next year, 1981. 1981 में लिंक रिलेटिव है 130, ठीक है. और पिछले साल का चेन इंडेक्स क्या है, यानी 1980 का चेन इंडेक्स क्या है 66.67. फॉर्मूला क्या कहता है? फॉर्मूला कहता है कि चेन इंडेक्स ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर ईयर will be the link relative of the current year multiplied by the chain index of the previous year. So for 1981, 130 is the link relative of the current year, and we multiply this by the chain index of the previous year, यानी 1980 का chain index 66.67, and divide by 100. In this way, we are getting the chain base index number for all the years. So this is the application of the chain base index number. Now we move on to the next point, that is the quantity index numbers. So for measuring and comparing prices, yes, we use the price index numbers. And when we want to find out from the economy point of view, the level of output. Output means production कितना है, dispatch कितना हुआ है, यानी क्वांटिटी को लेके हम लोग काम करेंगे. So for measuring and comparing the quantities, we will use the quantity index number. That means here the quantity index number is nothing but the Qn by Q0 into 100. यानी quantity of the current year Qn या Q1 आप कह सकते हो, divided by the quantity of the base year Q0 multiplied by 100. So in this example, we can see quantity at time t shown by Qt and quantity in the base period shown as Q0. So we have the formula of quantity relative Qt divided by Q0 into 100. Accordingly, students, please requested, all the students requested to kindly note. So for these price index, which we have already done, last period's price index, and then we had purchase price index, Marshall-Edgeworth price index, Bowley's index, and then Fisher's index. Now we can find out the corresponding quantity index numbers. अब quantity index में क्या होगा? Let us take last period's quantity index. In the case of last period's quantity index, क्या हो रहा है? We are getting, please note in the numerator, we have Q1 P0 divided by Q0 P0 in the denominator. Numerator में Q1 यानी quantity of the current year, लेकिन इसका weight क्या होगा? Weight है base year quantity. So P0. So this is the quantity index under last period's method, sigma Q1 P0 divided by sigma Q0 P0 into 100. Similarly, purchase quantity index, purchase index number, what is the basic feature? पहचान क्या है? Purchase index number, इसका मतलब है weight जो weight होगा वो current year का होगा. So in the case of purchase quantity index, as you can see, sigma Q1 P1 divided by sigma Q0 P1. यानी Q1 is the quantity of the current year, लेकिन weight यहाँ पे क्या है? P1. Please note the same weight P1 is used both in the numerator and the denominator, because you know that in case of last period's index, the quantity is shown by the current year, and similarly, is shown by the base year, and for the purchase index, the weight is shown by the current year. So in case of quantity index for purchase, we are using the current year price as the weight. So we have P1 both in the numerator and the denominator. Accordingly, the Fisher's quantity index number will be calculated. It is nothing but the geometric mean of the last period's quantity index number multiplied by purchase quantity index number, and you can calculate the Fisher's quantity index number. So this is basically what we have by quantity index. So you can see on the right hand side, Fisher's quantity index number comes up sigma Q1 P0 by Q0 P0, जो कि है last period's quantity index. ये जो पहला आप देख रहे हो first term for Fisher's quantity index, this first term is nothing but what you see is the last period's quantity index. Second term, I'm just hovering my cursor. The second term of the Fisher's quantity index number Q1 P1 by Q0 P1, ये है क्या? असल में ये है purchase quantity index. So you can see in the Fisher's quantity index number, both the last period's quantity index and the purchase index are taken, the product is found out, and the square root is taken. That means it is the geometric mean. In a similar manner, in case of the Bowley's quantity index, we are just finding out the arithmetic mean of the last period's quantity index and the purchase quantity index. इसीलिए Bowley's index को हम लोग कहते हैं L plus P by 2. You can see in the numerator we have the arithmetic mean. That means we have calculated sigma, the total of these two quantities, total of these two index numbers. You have Q1P0 by Q0P0, jo actually it is nothing but the last period's quantity index. And the second figure which you see, the second expression which you see, sigma Q1P1 divided by sigma Q0P1, this is nothing but the purchase index. In this way, the Marshall's quantity index is also calculated in the same logic. So as you can see, the Bowley's index is weighted price index or the quantity index, whatever you compute. It is nothing but the arithmetic mean of the last period index and the purchase index. So last period का upward bias और purchase का downward bias थोड़ा सा हटा दिया जाता है और थोड़ा सा eliminate होता है, थोड़ा सा neutralize होता है when you use the Dorbish-Bowley's index number. Similarly, this bias is neutralized or eliminated to a certain extent when we are using the Fisher's index number. So this is what we have so far as the quantity index is concerned. Now we proceed to the usefulness. So we have seen that usefulness, definitely index number is important for research purposes, for economic purposes, even as I said, for the purpose of economic forecasting. So CPI, Consumer Price Index, next 3 महीने में, next quarter की अगर बात करें कहां तक पहुंचेगा, the prediction is done largely by using the principles of index number. So future economic activity of the country, and of course this is very significant both from the government's perspective, the central government as well as the state government's perspective, right? And you can see that this is entirely based on the principles of index number. And another chapter which we do not have in statistics syllabus, that is time series analysis. I'm sure some of you have done time series analysis in your +2. Lastly, we will see that cost of living index number. When you think of the, we always say that this city, cost of living is very high. And some people will try to compare the cost of living index, say in 2 cities, say Bangalore, Gurugram versus, say for example, Delhi or Hyderabad, Chennai versus Kolkata versus Mumbai. So you can always find out the CPI or the CLI, the cost of living index. And even for the cost of living index numbers are used. In a little while from now, we will see how index numbers are used even for the deflating purposes. That means deflating, we will see, is when we consider the nominal salary and we consider the real, we try to find out the real salary. And of course, we will have to adjust it by the nominal salary or the nominal wage will be adjusted by the index number and we will get the real salary. So these are the usefulness. Practically a very significant, important and useful tool of statistics. Limitations, yes, there could be some bias, there could be some sampling will be carried out for the purpose of computing the index numbers. There may be certain chances of error. And of course, it may not be exact always. And result might give different values. For example, if we are taking the last period index, you will get a particular trend. लेकिन अगर आप purchase index follow करेंगे, आपको दूसरा trend मिलेगा, कहीं पे upper bias, कहीं पे lower bias. So इसीलिए in real world, Fisher's index या फिर Bowley's index use किया जाता है so that we can eliminate the bias and index number becomes more reliable, more stable, and therefore practically more useful. Okay. Now looking at the important formula for once again for the exam preparation, please remember the important price index formula which you see on the slide, the simple aggregate price index, we have discussed it, Pn, that is sigma Pn by sigma P0 into 100, last period price index, sigma Pn into Q0 divided by sigma P0 into Q0 into 100. Please remember for the last period index, base year quantity will be taken as the weights. Purchase index क्या होगा फिर? sigma PNQN divided by sigma P0QN. That means here the current year quantity is taken as the weight. Third kya hai? Marshall Edgeworth. We have seen here the quantity is nothing but the average or the simple average of the arithmetic mean of the base year quantity and the current year quantity. Yani for Marshall Edgeworth, quantity will be Q0 plus Qn divided by 2. Fisher's ideal index, we have seen already, we have examined. Fisher's index is straight cut geometric mean of last period's index and past year's index. Finally, we have also discussed about the weighted average and the relative method. On the right hand side, I have jotted down all the important quantity index numbers. So you can see for this particular chapter, it's very simple to remember, but just be very cautious and careful about the different measures and the methods: price index, quantity index, and in general, we have the last period index where the base year quantity is the weight. And we take the next is past year's index where the current year values will be taken as the weights. In case of the Bowley's index, it is nothing but the arithmetic mean of last period's and past year's index. For Marshall Edgeworth, the quantity or weight will be the simple average of base year quantity and current year quantity. और अंत में क्या है? Fisher's index. Fisher's index क्या है? Geometric mean of last period's index and past year's index. So this is what we have in the so far as the formula are concerned. We now proceed to the last part, splicing and deflating. इसके बाद हम लोग चले जाएंगे, सीधे हम लोग चले जाएंगे to the test, यानी चारों टेस्ट, यूनिट टेस्ट, टाइम रिवर्सल टेस्ट, फैक्टर रिवर्सल टेस्ट और अंत में सर्कुलर टेस्ट हम लोग जान लेंगे, समझ जाएंगे, and then we will go to the last part of today's session, that is the questions and solving many of the questions both from the exercise, MCQs as well as MTP, RTP questions. Now we come to splicing and deflating. पहले हम लोग splicing समझ लेते हैं. Splicing is when we combine two different index number series. So दो index number का series हो सकता है जहां पे मान लीजिए दोनों का अलग अलग base year है. Two series of index numbers having different base year. We are trying to combine into a continuous series. काफी हद तक practically बहुत important है. Splicing practically किया जाता है because sometimes the Government of India, RBI, Ministry of Finance, they want to find out or they want to create a single continuous series of index numbers, and then there is a practical requirement of using the splicing technique. So यहाँ पे क्या होता है? First we will see splicing, shifting and splicing. So it comes up on the slide. You can see base year shifted price index. Please see in the first column we have the year 2011 से शुरू करके 2022 तक है. Original price index for 2011 was 100. Accordingly, for 2012 it was 104, 106. You can see the price increasing in general and the price index are given. But the base year is 2011. Now, each year's the original price index, which you see in second column, is now shifted to a new base year, वो है 2021. So maybe the government decided that, okay, 2011, this is a very old, it is becoming old, outdated. We know that index numbers should be based on the base year and the base year should be recent. So maybe the government decides to shift the base year from 2011, मान लीजिए 2011 से 2021 में ये बदल जाएगा, यानी शिफ्ट होगा. Accordingly, in the last column आप देख सकते हो shifted price index, but this time it is calculated on the base of 2021. 2021 का ओरिजिनल प्राइस इंडेक्स 140 है, 2011 का है 100. सो 2011 का शिफ्टेड प्राइस इंडेक्स क्या होगा? It will be calculated as, you can see, the original price index divided by the price index of the year on which it has to be shifted multiplied by 100. इसका अर्थ यही है that 2011 का shifted price index हम लोग कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे? We will take the original price index of 2011. You can do it with me. You can calculate original price index for 2011 is 100, and we divide it by the original price index of the year 2021, क्योंकि 2021 अभी यहाँ पे base year has been shifted to 2021. So 2021 it is 140. So the corresponding price index, shifted price index for 2011 is how much? It is the original price index of 2011, जो कि है 100. You divide it by the original price index of 2021, यानी जिस वर्ष में shifting करना है. So it becomes 100 divided by 140. Please multiply it by 100. Let me do it. I am getting how much? 0.71. So I multiply it by 100. I am getting 71.4. That is what you find here in the shifted price index. Please see, in this way, every year's price index has been shifted to the new base year 2021, excepting for the fact that 2021 for 140 against the original price index of 140, now we have the base of 100, क्योंकि अभी 2021 नया base year बन चुका है. So this is how we do the shifting. And now from the concept of shifting, we have splicing. So splicing of two index number covering different periods of time. ये कैसे होता है? When there is a कब ये require क्यों होता है? क्योंकि काफी बार requirement होता है when there is a major change in the weights. So it may be necessary on account of a new method of calculation, and as a result, if there is a change in the weights, there may be a necessity to go for splicing. So in this example on the slide, we are on slide 10, you can see that we have the first column shows the year, और यहाँ पे 2010 was taken as the original old price index, yani old base year was taken as 2010. Accordingly, the price index was 100. Then we had 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15 tak price index given, but these are with respect to the base year of 2010. Now each of these have to be shifted because, or spliced, because now we have a revised price index 2015 को अभी हम लोग नया base year मान के चलेंगे. Accordingly, you can see the splicing has been done with respect to 2015 as the base year. इसका मतलब है splicing, spliced price index for 2010 क्या होगा? चलिए कैलकुलेट करके देखते हैं. 2010 का ओल्ड प्राइस इंडेक्स कितना है? 100. 2015 जो कि अभी नया बेस ईयर बनेगा, उसका क्या है? उसका ओल्ड प्राइस इंडेक्स है 114.2, 114.2. So for the spliced index, if I want to calculate for 2010, now what I'll do is I'll take 100 in the numerator, divide it by 114.2 and multiply it by 100. So it will be, for 2010, the spliced index is 100 divided by this 114.2. You multiply it by 100, you will arrive at 87.6, which is the spliced price index. So through splicing, you can see two different sets of index numbers, one with respect to 2010 as the base year, the other with respect to 2015 as the base year. We have used splicing price index, and we have got a continuous series. And you can see this is the spliced price index. So old series 2010 is converted through shifting of the base to 2015, and this is how the splicing is done, right? So I hope you're now understanding the method of shifting the base and how the splicing is done to get a continuous stream of index numbers. Last is, what is deflation? या deflating. इस deflating concept पे बहुत सारे न्यूमेरिकल हम लोग एग्जाम में भी, आई थिंक, आई एम श्योर वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट अ कपल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस ऑन डिफ्लेटिंग, दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डिफ्लेटिंग. सो डिफ्लेटिंग में हम लोग क्या करते हैं, महंगाई की असर उसको हटाकर असली कमाई यानी रियल इनकम पता करना, इसको हम लोग डिफ्लेटिंग कहते हैं. Say, for example, I'm taking a very simple, common example. So let me say that a particular mutual fund या फिर कोई भी investment option is giving us an absolute return, यानी nominal return पर मान के चलिए, nominal return they are offering 11%, 11% return. So we are very happy, 11% return, great. But this is the nominal return. We have inflation. Now, if the inflation is 6%, inflation आपको पता है, gradual increase in the price. Even inflation कैसे calculate होता है? By using index numbers. अगर base year value was 100 और current year the value is 105, so we can say कि 100 रुपए में जो चीज मेरे को base year में मिलता था, आज उसी चीज को खरीदने के लिए मेरे को 105 रुपए खर्च करने पड़ेंगे. That means how much more am I paying? I am paying 5 rupees more. ओरिजिनल प्राइस 100 रुपए था, आज 105. ये 5 रुपया मेरे को ज्यादा देना पड़ रहा है. बट किस बेस के ऊपर? द बेस इज हाउ मच? 100. सो आई कैन से 5 by 100 into 100 यानी इन्फ्लेशन 5%. सो इन दिस वे वी कैन गेट इन्फ्लेशन. नाउ मान लीजिए एक इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कीम इज ऑफरिंग, से फॉर एग्जांपल 11% रिटर्न and the inflation say is 6%. So it is 6%. So therefore nominal return is 11%, लेकिन inflation is 6%. So मेरा real return क्या है? Real return is 11 minus 6, यानी 5%. Similarly, you know there is always cost of living index. दिन पे दिन क्या हो रहा है? महंगाई, हम लोग कहते हैं महंगाई बढ़ता चला जा रहा है. और ये इन डिफरेंट कंट्रीज ऑफ द वर्ल्ड देयर इज इन्फ्लेशन. दैट मींस चीजों की जो कीमत है उसमें वो बढ़ता जा रहा है. दैट मींस विद द सेम इनकम, इफ माय इनकम रिमेन्स द सेम, माय परचेसिंग पावर इज रिड्यूसिंग. अगर मेरा इनकम, डिस्पोजेबल इनकम अगर मेरा सेम है और मान लीजिए कि मेरा हर चीज का भाव बढ़ रहा है, that means with the same income, the amount which I was able to, or the quantity I was able to buy last year, this year I will not be able to buy that much. So therefore my purchasing power gets affected. On similar principles deflation is done, क्योंकि अक्सर हम लोग देखते हैं वी हैव द आइडिया ऑफ डियरनेस अलाउंस, कि सैलरी बढ़ता है. Companies will always increase the salary over a period of time. So nominal, मान लीजिए किसी का सैलरी है 20,000 in the base year 2015, और मान लीजिए आज की डेट में उसका सैलरी हो गया है मान लीजिए 50,000. So the person is thinking, oh, what a great achievement, from 20,000 my salary has jumped to 50,000. That means I have gained 30,000. My growth is 30,000. But this is only the nominal growth. Real income क्या है वो निकालना है. So real income के लिए हम लोग deflating का जो tool है, जो टेक्निक है, वो हम लोग इस्तेमाल करेंगे. Let us see deflating now. I hope you have understood the background of deflating. चलिए यहाँ पे एक सिंपल सा एग्जाम्पल से हम लोग जानने की कोशिश करेंगे what is deflating. So let us see a practical example. Year 1, say it is the base year, 2015 ले लीजिए, 2018 ले लीजिए. Say the revenue of a company is 1 lakh. Okay. In the second year, okay, current year मान लीजिए, the revenue is 1,20,000. But the last Las index, say for example, for year 2 is 115. That means year 1 was 100, year 2 is 115. That means prices have actually shot up by 15% based on the year 0. यानी बेस ईयर के मुकाबले करंट ईयर में प्राइसेस 15% शूट अप किया है, यानी बढ़ गया है। ओके, सो ईयर 1 में कंपनी का टर्नओवर था 1 लाख और दूसरे वर्ष में टर्नओवर हो गया 1,20,000। सो is it a matter of rejoicing and should we go for celebration? Okay, nominal revenue अगर देखा जाए, we will say that yes, there is a jump in the nominal revenue. And अगर हम लोग बात करें, मान लीजिए, if you think of say, if you think of the jump in the revenue, so it looks like from 1 lakh to 1,20,000. So straight away लगेगा कि भाई 100,000 यानी 1 lakh, and the revenue has jumped to 1,20,000. Wow, 20% jump. Great. So we start clapping, rejoicing. But please note that this is only the nominal. Now we have to see the real. So real जो है वो है हमेशा nominal income या nominal revenue divided by the price index. So price index अब क्या है? First year it was 100, next year 115, यानी 1.15. The value has increased by 1.15 times. So corresponding index we can say is 1.15. Therefore, at 1,20,000, if I just, if you just divide it by 1.15, so even though it looks like a 20% increase, but actually the real growth has increased. Basically, if you divide 1,20,000 by 1.15, you will get 1,04,035, 1,04,104,350, something like this. That means virtually it is like a increment of 4,350. So 1,04,350 you will get. So real growth की अगर बात किया जाए, it is around 100 and so now the real growth comes to around 4.35%. Because real growth, if you see, the original was 1 lakh, but now the revised growth or the revised revenue, focusing, if you compare it from the real point of view, it is not 1,20,000, but it is 1,04,350. So real growth की अगर बात करें वो है 4.35, even though the nominal growth looks like 20%. So this is how we do the deflating. So कंक्लूजन ये निकल सकता है कि रेवेन्यू में जंप हुआ है जरूर, लेकिन ये ज्यादा प्रोडक्ट बेचने से नहीं हुआ, ये इन्फ्लेशन का इंपैक्ट इसमें ज्यादा दिखता है. Right? I hope you can understand that in economics, even for management consulting, in costing, in intermediate and final, you have papers on costing. So there, we always look at the real jump. What is the real growth? So this is very important. This is deflating. Now we look at the last part. We understand the last part of chapter 18, and that is the test of adequacy. So we are on slide number 11, and we will now take the last part, जो कि है adequacy. 4 तरह का adequacy test है. You need to remember the basic principle of the 4 test, यानी concept क्या है और कौन सा इंडेक्स नंबर है जो ये टेस्ट पास करता है. So unit test means the formula should be independent of the unit. So we have already seen that all the formula, last payers index, fastest index, ultimately accepting, मतलब सारे index number leaving aside, accepting simple unweighted aggregative index will actually satisfy the test. So here we don't have any specific champion because most of the index numbers will satisfy the unit test. Unit test means the formula should be independent of the unit. Now we come to time reversal test, जिसे हम लोग TRT कहते हैं. We refer to it as the TRT. This means that the index number formula should work both ways. Now, when we look at the forward movement, we say P01. That means index of year 1 with the base of year 0. P01. If you reverse it, यानी backward if you do, so P01 जो हम लोग लिखते हैं वो अभी हो जाएगा P10. That means the price of the base year with respect to the current year. Time reversal test, here it means that ultimately the two indices P01 multiplied by P10, the product of these two indices should be equal to 1. Then only symbolically agar P01 multiplied by P10 agar 1, if it comes to 1, then we will say that the index number has been able to satisfy the TRT, yani time reversal test. Unfortunately, Laspeyres method and Pasteu's method does not. So कृपया नोट करें कि Laspeyres index और Pasteu's index टाइम रिवर्सल टेस्ट को पास नहीं करता, लेकिन फिशर्स इंडेक्स करता है. So let me see if I can show you the working. So please see that for time reversal test, P01 into P10 should be equal to 1. P01 क्या है? It is the index number of current year, that is year 1, with respect to the base year, which is 0. And P10 क्या है? It is the index of the base year with reference to the current year. एक दूसरे का बिल्कुल inverse आप कह सकते हो. So for the TRT, time reversal test, the product should be equal to 1. ये केवल फिशर्स इंडेक्स करता है. चलिए एक नजर डालेंगे लास्पेरिस इंडेक्स, क्या ये TRT करता है? You can see I have written P01. Laspeyres index, you know P01 क्या होगा? Sigma P1Q0 divided by sigma P0Q0, because the weight is current year, the base year, Q0. P10, that means Laspeyres index with respect to the current year. So this comes to P0Q1 by P1Q1. But if you just find out the product, दोनों का अगर product निकाला जाए, it is not equal to 1. So therefore, Laspeyres index is not satisfying the time reversal test. एक नजर डालेंगे Pasteu's जो index number है, if you compute, you will find P01 sigma P1Q1 by sigma P0Q1, because in Pasteu's index we are using current year quantity as the weights. Similarly, P10, that means the Pasteu's index of the base year with respect to the current year, it will become P0Q0 by sigma P1Q0. दोनों का product, sorry, it does not equal to 1. That means we can see for the time reversal test, ना तो Laspeyres method, ना तो Pasteu's method इसे satisfy कर सकता है. So चारों जो adequacy test, सूचकांक के जो 4 प्रमुख टेस्ट होते हैं, so एग्जाम में सीधा सवाल आता है कि कौन सा इंडेक्स किस टेस्ट को पास करता है. You can see some of these important points I have reproduced in Hindi for your reference. Unit test, सूचकांक का अपनी कोई यूनिट, जैसे केजी, सेंटीमीटर, ओके, रुपए, इंडियन करेंसी, डॉलर, ये सब कुछ नहीं होनी चाहिए. सो ये एक शुद्ध संख्या है. सारे सूचकांक इसे पास करते हैं सिंपल एग्रीगेटिव इंडेक्स को छोड़ के. टाइम रिवर्सल टेस्ट अभी हम लोग देख रहे थे, शर्त क्या है? व्हाट इज द कंडीशन टू बी मेट? P01 into P10 should be equal to 1. ये है इसका शर्त और द कंडीशन. कौन पास करता है? कौन चैंपियन है? फिशर्स आइडियल इंडेक्स पास करता है. Dear students, please also note Marshall-Edgeworth index also satisfies the time reversal test. Okay, so you can see up till now, the Fisher's ideal index and the Marshall's Edgeworth index, dono, they satisfy the time reversal test. But unfortunately, sorry, but Laspeyres index and Pasteu's index, they do not satisfy the time reversal test, that is TRT. Now we will see that the question, we will now move on and we will see that FRT, factor reversal test. Okay, so we are restricting ourselves to the basic, index numbers, that is Pasteu's, Laspeyres, Fisher's index, and the Marshall-Edgeworth. Bowley's index is a bit different. It is outside also. I think it's not part of our main curriculum. So you can work it out on your own and let me know later. Some of it you must do yourself as well. Now we see the next part and we move on to see the factor reversal test, जिसे हम लोग कहते हैं FRT. Factor reversal test means that the product of the price index and the quantity index should give you the corresponding value index. Value index क्या है? It is PNQN divided by P0Q0. याद रखिए, value means current year value, यानी current year price PN multiplied by current year weights PN into QN divided by the base year price multiplied by the base year quantity, यानी sigma PNQN divided by sigma P0Q0. So the factor reversal test of the FRT says, if we take the price index, let's take last period's price index, and if you multiply last period's price index by the last period's quantity index, will the product provide us, shall we get the corresponding value index? So in this case also, we will see that the Fisher's index number satisfies even the factor reversal test. So dear students, please keep in mind that the Fisher's index number satisfies both the time reversal test and the factor reversal test. And you can see here that in the case of the factor reversal test, an index number formula satisfies this test if the product of the price index and the quantity index gives you the true value index or the true value ratio. True value ratio kya hai? It is sigma P1Q1 divided by sigma P0Q0. That is the true value ratio. So this is what you have to see. Okay, now you can see that. Let us look at the next one, the factor reversal test we have seen. And you can see why the Fisher's index is often seen as the ideal index. क्योंकि चारों जो परीक्षा है, चारों जो टेस्ट है, you will find that yes, Bowley's index is also strong enough. It removes the bias to some extent, and we have seen that Bowley's index is the simple arithmetic mean of the last period's index and the past year's index. But the Fisher's index, which is conceptually kya hai? It is the geometric mean of the last period's and the past year's index. Fisher's index up till now, out of the 4 tests, unit test, we have taken 3 tests, unit test, time reversal and factor reversal test, we find that the Fisher's ideal index is successful in 2 of the exams or 2 of the tests. ये test Fisher's index, factor reversal test comfortably pass kar leta hai. That is why it is known as the ideal index number. Lastly, we have the circular test. Last is circular test. Circular test means if I write it in the form of index number, so you have P01, index number of year 1 with respect to base year. You have P12, that is index number of second year with year 1 as the base. And you also have the base, you have the third index, that is P20, that is the price of the base year with respect to the second year. So circular test ये कहता है P01 multiplied by P12 should be equal to P02. Conversely, we can also write this as P01 into P12 into P20. So P01 into P12 into P20 should be equal to 1. Agar ye hota hai, then we will say that there is a circular test. So as an example, if 1970s index with base 1965, that means 65 is the 0 year, yani base year. 1970 ka index with respect to 1965, that means P10 is 200. Next we have 1970 index with base 1965. Now let us see 1960. Now first we'll take 1960 and 65. 1960 we are taking as base year. Chaliye, 1960 is the base year. 1965 index is 150. That means 1960 or 65 में 100 से 150 हो गया, 5 साल में 100 150 बन गया, 50% increase. So P01 we can write as 150. Now we have 1970 index with the base of 1965 is 200. So here the year 1 is 1965, year 2 is 1970. So 1970's index with respect to 1965, yani P12 is given, it is coming to 200. So therefore, it means if 1970's index with respect to 1960, that means now we are linking year 2 with year 0. If it comes to 300, that means if it is a product of these two individual index, then we will say that the circular test is passed. This test of circular, जो हम लोग circular test की बात कर रहे हैं, sorry, none of the usual index numbers, Laspieris index, Fisher's index, Pasteur's index, and Fisher's index will not satisfy the circular test. So आप देख सकते हो जो शर्त मैं बता रहा था, दो तरीके से हम लोग शर्त लिख सकते हैं. One is P01 into P12 should be equal to P02. The other way to write it, you can see it is P01 into P12 multiplied by P20. This should be equal to 1. So this is what we have in the circular test. So we have analyzed all the 4 tests. Please note, for the circular test, the simple geometric mean of the relatives and the weighted aggregates with fixed weights only will meet this test. यानी जो normal, जो आम index numbers है, Laspieris index, Pasteur's index, Fisher's index, ये तीनों index numbers कोई भी circular test pass नहीं करते. So please note, this circular test seems to be a very difficult test. So none of the index numbers are passing the test. Finally, we come to the drone shot. मैंने एक drone shot बनाया, आप देख सकते हो all the important formula in one slide. And after this, we will move on to the questions. So index numbers first is, please remember, मैंने एक exam, एक hack, एक trick बताया कि for the Laspieris index, sometimes it becomes difficult to remember. Just code remember करिए 10 by 00. That means P1Q0 यानी 10 है ऊपर, नीचे है P0Q0 यानी 00. That means it is the base year weight which is used. Purchase price index याद रखिए, we have discussed वर्तमान वर्ष की जो quantity, जो उसी को हम लोग weight मान के चलेंगे. So you have the hacking, the hack, the exam hack, trick code to remember. It is 1101. That means we have P1Q1 in the numerator and P0Q1 in the denominator. So 11 by 01. Bowless price index is nothing but the arithmetic mean of the Laspieris index and the Pasteur's index. Marshall-Edgeworth index, यहाँ पे क्या है, जो भार है, जो weight है, ये क्या है, ये दोनों वर्षों का मात्राओं का योग Q0 plus Q1. Right? It is nothing but Q0 plus Q1 by 2. Two gets cancelled. Is Q0 plus Q1. You can take it. Now we have Fisher's ideal index, which is nothing but the geometric mean. So please remember Laspieris index number 1, Pasteur's index formula number 2, Bowless price index formula number 3, Marshall-Edgeworth index formula number 4, पांचवा formula है जो Fisher's index number. So 5 important formula. And please remember, चारों test है, unit test, time reversal test, factor reversal test, and circular test. चारों जो test है उसमें Fisher's index number passes in 2 of the tests. Time reversal or factor reversal दोनों pass कर लेता है. Now we come to the table which you see on the right side. Laspieris index, for quick remembering, base year पकड़ के चलेंगे. Pasteur's index, current year quantity taken. Fisher's index, square root of L into P. Time reversal test means reverse, forward and reverse, forward, backward. दोनों का product should be equal to 1. Factor reversal test, we have seen that P01 into Q01, यानी price index or quantity index का product should give you the value index जो Fisher's index पार करता है. Circular test, P01 into P12 into P20 should be equal to 1. Fisher, Laspires, Paste इसमें fail हो जाता है. And last we see real wage जो कि salary by index. So these are the important formula for chapter 18 which you need to remember for handling questions on index numbers. Now we look at set A and set B. So the last part of our analysis, our session today. First example comes up on the slide. I have taken the set A. Net monthly salary of an employee. So we are on slide number 14. And we take the first example. Net monthly salary of an employee was 30,000 in the year 2000. Okay. The consumer price index in 2015 is 250 with 2000 as the base year. Fine. So current year is 2015. पकड़ के चलेंगे. Base year है 2000 and the consumer price index is 250. That means base year में जो 100 था आज 250 हो गया है, यानी 2.5 गुना, 2.5 times the prices have increased. That is what I understand from the given statement. The question is, if a person has to be rightly compensated, then the dearness allowance to be paid to the employee is how much? Very similar questions keep coming in the exam, and you can see the solution step by step. सन 2000 में consumer price index was how much? Was 100. 2015 में ये consumer price index हो गया है 250. 2000 में यूनिटरी मेथड मैं बता रहा था, इट इज नथिंग बट यूनिटरी मेथड जो हम लोग स्कूल में सीखते हैं. इन 2000 इफ इट इज 1, देन इन 2015 इट इज 2.5, जो मैं अभी बता रहा था 2.5 गुना प्राइस बढ़ गया है. सो इफ इन 2000 अ पर्सन वाज गेटिंग 30,000, देन इन 2015 टू बी कंपनसेटेड his salary must be increased by how much? 2.5 times. So the salary must now become 30,000 into 2.5, right? Because 2.5 is actually the increase in the index. जो 100 रुपए था आज 250 हो गया है. So index has increased by 250% या फिर 2.5 times या फिर 2.5 गुना बोल सकते हो. So salary अगर कंपेंसेट करना है, डियरनेस अलाउंस का मतलब क्या है? अलाउंस, डियरनेस, डियर मतलब तो वी नो, डियर सर, डियर मैम, डियर फ्रेंड, डियर स्टूडेंट. लेकिन डियरनेस क्या है? डियरनेस अलाउंस मींस कि जो महंगाई जो हो रहा है, बढ़ रहा है, द कंपनी इज कंपेंसेटिंग द एम्प्लॉई by suitably increasing the salary of the wage rate so that the salary of the person now is at par with the index. So the person 2000 में उसका जो सेविंग हुआ करता था, आज की डेट में भी उतना ही सेविंग होने का चांसेस है, provided his expenditure remains the same. Now we can see the additional. So his salary today should be in 2015 should be 75,000. That means इनका जो dearness allowance इनको चाहिए, this should be 75,000. That is new salary minus the original salary of 30,000. यानी 45,000 should be paid to the employee in the form of dearness allowance. So I hope, dear students, you are clear about this. Interesting, and I will only say very scoring. I 100% I agree with sir. When sir said in the beginning, 6 out of 6, yes, definitely 6 out of 6. Next question, consumer price index goes up from 110 to 200. Okay. मतलब over a period of time, consumer price index जो 110 था, वो अभी 200 हो गया है. The worker, एक worker है जिसका salary is also increased from 330 to 500. मान लीजिए this is the hourly wage. चलिए just example, 330 रुपए से 500 रुपए पर आवर उनका वेज हो गया है. Therefore, in real terms, to maintain his previous standard of living, he should get an additional amount of how much? So we can see base year cost of living index in the base year say is 110. Usually we take it as 100, but here it is given कि 110 पकड़ के चलेंगे. Current year में cost of living index has become 200. Salary of the employee in the base year is 330. Salary of the worker in the current year is 500. But these are nominal figures. Real wage क्या होगा? So real wage base year में employee का salary था या wage अब कहो वो था 330 330. So in the numerator we will write 330, but the index number of the base year as per the problem is 110. So I will divide 330 by 110. So I am getting 3.3. Sorry, 3 exactly. 110, 3. 3 means it is equivalent to percentage की अगर हिसाब से किया जाए, it is equivalent to 300 rupees. Now we see, so the real wage in the base year is this. Now we see the real wage in the current year. Current year real wage कैसे निर्धारण करेंगे? It will be the monetary wages in the current year. In this example, it is given that his salary is now 500 rupees. Okay, wage is 500 rupees per hour, say. So, but we can see that the index has increased from 110 to 200. So, आज की date में the index, the cost of living index in the current year is 200. So, therefore, the worker's real wage is given by the nominal wage divided by the index number. Please see the same process we have done for finding out the real wage in the base year. Base year में क्या था? Index था 110 और salary था या wage था 330. So we got around 300, which is the real wage. In the current year, salary has been increased. Very good. Salary is now 500. But the index also has increased. यानी cost of living भी बढ़ गया है. Cost of living is now 200. So therefore, what is the real wage of this worker in the current year? It comes to 500, जो कि nominal wage है current year में, divided by what? By the index number of the current year. Current year का index number numerical example में दिया हुआ है, वो है 200. And you multiply by 100. So what we are getting is, it comes to 250. That means his real wage is 250. So even though his salary or wage has been increased from 330 to 500, his real, ये nominal wage है. Nominal wage 330 था, 500 कर दिया गया है. लेकिन real wage के हिसाब से अगर देखा जाए, base year में इनका real wage था 300 रुपए. You can see here. But current year में इनका real wage घट गया है. It has decreased. It has become 250. That means the person must be facing financial challenges because वो अपना cost of living, उसका जो standard of living, वो maintain कर नहीं पाएगा because his real wage has gone down. So therefore, the conclusion is, we can say that even though the money wage of the worker has been increased, but his real wage has fallen from 300 to 250, which signifies a loss of 50 rupees in real terms, So very important example. We now see the last one on the slide, and this is again on real, and you can see this is deflating. If the price of a commodity in a place has decreased by 30% over the base period, index number in that year in that place is how much? Very simple one-line solution. Base year we are taking as 100, and it has been said that current year mein there is a decrease of 30%. That means base year was 100, but current year में 30% घट गया है. So 100 रुपए में कुछ चीजें मैं खरीदता था पिछले साल बेस ईयर, इस साल there is a 30% reduction. यानी आज की डेट में वो मैं कितने पैसों में, कितने रुपए में खरीद पाऊंगा? 70 रुपए में. 30% reduction. So the index number of today with respect to the base year is 70. Very simple. Okay, now we go to selected questions. We have completed set A, now set B. First question comes up. Index number for a base year is always considered as what? Yes, we have discussed it. I'm sure you got it correct. Option A. Base year, we will take it as 100. Question 2. Which index number is called the ideal index number? Okay, ideal index number is obviously it is the Fisher's index number, option C. Third question, index number is also known as what? Well, index number is not at all a constant. It is a parameter to some extent, but the best answer will be it's an economic barometer. So question 3, option A is the right answer. Question 4, in Lasperis price index number, weight is considered as what? Weight is considered as what? Q0. Yani we will take the base year price. Okay, where is the price in the base year? Option C, quantity in the base year, price index. So the weight will be the quantity in the base year, yani Q0. Next question is number 5. Fisher's price index number is what? Fisher's price index. Let us quickly review the options. Option B, already our dear students have already started answering. Thanks to each one of them. Fifth question, if you see option, kaun si option? It is option B, because geometric mean. Moving on to the next lot of questions. Number 6, index numbers can be used for what? Index numbers, the best example definitely if you see is that it has a lot of application, but forecasting I think is one of the most important applications. Option B and C of course are not correct. Number 7, Lasperis index है 110, Pastures index 108, Fisher's index क्या? So typical problems which can be expected. So you just you know that Fisher's index is the geometric mean of Lasperis index and the Pastures index. So we will multiply 110 into 108 and you find out the square root. I think you should get somewhere around 109. Eighth question, we will take which of the following formula satisfy the TRT? Time reversal test. Okay, we know Fisher's index satisfies both the time reversal and the factor reversal. So question number 8, it is B, that is Fisher's index. Number 9, Pastures price index is also known as what? Pastures price index, we know we use the current year weights, QN. So Pastures price index we write as sigma PN QN divided by P0 QN. So number 9, obviously option B is the right answer. Number 10, while computing weighted index, the current period quantities are used in which? Okay, Marshall, Edgeworth, Fisher, Pastures. Current period quantity will be used in Pastures index. So question 10, option C. Moving on to MCQ number 11, set B. A series of numerical figures, well, relative position is shown by index number, option 1A. Question 12, index number for the base period always taken as 100. We are clear on that. Number 12, dash plays a very important part in the construction of index number. Weights, क्योंकि weight पूरा index number को impact कर सकता है, affect कर सकता है. So question 12, I will go for option A. Question 13, dash is particularly suitable for the construction of index numbers HM, AM, GM. Okay, so AM and GM both are used. For example, Bowley's index is the arithmetic mean of Lasperis and Pastures index. And you know that Fisher's index is the geometric mean of Lasperis and Pastures. But suitability, okay, so arithmetic mean maybe because it is easy, simple to calculate. 14th question, index numbers show dash changes. We will write both relative and percentage. Yes, so both, option C. 19th question, cost of living at two different cities can be compared with the help of what? Okay, so question 19, this is the best answer would be cost of living. I would go for the consumer price index. That is indeed the reflection of the cost of living. Great. So all our students who are on the show, on the live, the telecast today, they are showing their eagerness and really happy to see all your efforts. We move on to the 20th question. Fisher's ideal index number is the geometric mean of what? Option B. Yes, Lasperis price index. Now we proceed to the MTP mock test paper question. First one comes up. Fisher's index number is called ideal index because it satisfies what? Well, factor and time. So FRT and TRT. We will go for option C. Question 2 from the MTP series. Which index measures change from month to month in the cost of a representative basket of goods and services of the type bought by a typical household, common citizens? So, okay, which one? Retail price index. Okay, retail price index is the best answer. Question 3, if Fisher's index 150 and Pasteur's index 144, then what is last period's price index? Okay, so this we know Fisher's index is the geometric mean. So if last period's index is X, then and Pasteur's index is 144, then 144 into X, you take the square root, this will give you 150. So if you work on it, I guess you will arrive at option B. So the last period's index is 156, Pasteur's index is given, and 144 into X. This is the product of last period's and Pasteur. Take the square root, you get 150. That means now squaring both the sides, 144x should be equal to 150 into 150. And that's how you arrive at option B. Question 4, from the following data, construct the index number by last period's method. Oh, lovely question. P1Q1 is 100, P0Q1 is 86, P0Q0 is 83, P1Q0 is 106. Good question. Last period's method, you are all now absolutely crystal clear. Last period's method means sigma Pn Q0 by P0 Q0. So we will take P1 Q0. We will take P1 Q0 is how much? P1 Q0 is 106, and we have P0 Q0. So P0 Q0 is given 83. Okay, so what is the last period's method? So 106 by 83 into 100. I guess it comes to 127.71. So option D. MTP 2025-26, most recent questions in the ICAI mock test paper. CPI, the first question, consumer price index goes up from 100 to 200. Salary of the worker moves from 300 to 500. Real wage is how much? Okay, 300, 250, 600, or 350. So we have seen that real wage is nothing but the nominal wage divided by the price index. Here the revised wage is 500, but we can see that the consumer price index जो 100 था अब 200 हो गया, यानी 2 times it has increased. So we can say that the real wage of this particular employee is 500 divided by 2, which is 250. So option B is the right answer. MTP, next question. Last period's index is a weighted aggregate method by taking dash. Okay, so this is quantity consumed in the base year. Option A is the right answer. Third question, index numbers are not helpful. Okay, not helpful for what? All our students are very fast response and they are quickly giving the answers, the right answers. Index numbers are not helpful in what? Well, they are very helpful in forecasting. They are very helpful in revealing trend. Identifying errors, no, they are not useful in identifying errors. So question 3, option D is the right answer here. Fine, so that brings us to the RTP, the last lot of questions. We have the first one I've taken from the last chapter. We did correlation regression. So this is RTP May 2026. Okay, 20th question comes up. This is slide 19 now. The covariance between two variables, X and Y, is 8.4. So just I thought last session, last slide. So why not take up one question from the previous chapter? Okay, so we have to find out Carl Pearson's coefficient, Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient. You know that is equal to covariance of XY divided by sigma X into sigma Y. Yani denominator mein it is a product of sigma X and sigma Y. Covariance is given as 8.4, so 8.4 comes in the numerator. लेकिन गौर करिए दिया हुआ है variances. Variances तो standard deviation निकालना है. So एक x जो है फर्स्ट वेरिएबल उसका वेरिएंस है 25, सो उसका स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन सिग्मा x क्या होगा 25 का स्क्वायर रूट यानी इट विल बी 5. सेकंड वेरिएबल y उसका वेरिएंस दिया है 36, इसका भी स्टैंडर्ड डिवीजन निकालना होगा स्क्वायर रूट, सो इट बिकम्स 6. सो नाउ माय Carl Pearson's coefficient will become 8.4 divided by 5 into 6. That means 8.4 divided by 30. Let me just work it out. चलिए 8.4 करते हैं. 8.4 divided by 30. Okay, I'm getting 0.28. I will go for option B. So Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation is not much. Positive, but only 2.28. That is 28%. 29th question in the RTP, very important. The test of shifting the bases. इसे हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? Shifting of base को. हम लोग, we have seen this in circular test, right? So P01 into P12, right? So this is the circular test. So 29th question, we will click option C. 30th question, the last one, purchasing power of money is stated as dash. Purchasing power of money will be the reciprocal of the price index. Because as the price index increases, the common man, the citizen, the purchasing power of a person actually goes down. So question number 30, we will go for reciprocal, option B. So as we conclude, please be absolutely clear with the important points. I have given circular test is an extension of time reversal. Yes, time reversal test, factor reversal test is satisfied only by the Fisher's ideal index. You can see Fisher's ideal formula does not satisfy the circular test. Please remember, the best average for constructing an index number is the geometric mean. However, in common terms, arithmetic mean is used, as we can see in the case of Bowley's index number. Past year's index is based on current year quantities, yes, obviously, whereas last period's index is based on the base year quantities. And purchasing power of money is the reciprocal of the price index number, an inverse relationship between the purchasing power of money and the price index. We took the same question. This is question 30 of the MTP, May 2026. With this, dear students, we wrap up and we come to the closing slide for the LMR, the last minute revision for many of the chapters. I thought of leaving you with some tables. So for ratio proportion, please remember the key rule, duplicate ratio याद रखिए, triplicate ratio एकदम इसको बारीकी से पढ़ लीजिए, प्रैक्टिस करिए. Indices and logarithms में याद रखिए, power of indices a power to the power m into a to the power n is equal to a to the power m plus n. और उसके साथ साथ logarithm का जो प्रयोग है उसको अभ्यास करिए. Quadratic equation, please remember ax square plus bx plus c is 0 equal to 0. If it is 0, then x is equal to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. From there, please remember that b square minus 4ac, if it is equal to 0, you will get certain type of roots. If it is more than equal to 0, you get obviously real roots. If it is less than 0, you get imaginary roots. Next, we have the time value of money. Please be clear about all the formula, including the annuity, specifically annuity regular and annuity due, of course. Permutations and combination, please remember the two formula, please practice and revise. So permutation, we say, is usually referred to as arrangement, whereas combination is usually, whenever you see the word selection in the problem, that means it could be a question on combination. Whereas jahan pe arrangement ki sawal hai, it could be the application of permutation formula. Sequence APGP yaad rakhiye, term n is equal to a plus n minus 1 into d, where d is the common difference. Please remember the sum also. Sum n, Sn is, n by 2, within bracket 2a plus n minus 1 into d. Please do the same for the geometric progression, and please remember the sum of the infinite GP series as well. Sets relation, we had partially covered that in the chapter on probability. Coming up to the next lot of important formula. Central tendency, please be crystal clear. I had shared a lot of comparative charts and tables. Mean, arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean, median, quartile deviation, percentile, decile. Please be absolutely clear. And of course, please don't forget mode as well, both for grouped and ungrouped. And please remember the golden rule or the formula, that is mean minus mode equal to 3 into mean minus median. Measures of dispersion, please remember we had in-depth coverage of mean deviation range, mean deviation, standard deviation, quartile deviation. And please remember कि property के हिसाब से in case of dispersion, SD, MD, QD range, जो चारों जो दोस्त है, four we कहते ना the famous four, these four measures of dispersion, they are not affected by change of origin, but remember they are affected by a change of scale. यानी change of origin से स्वतंत्र है, पर change of scale से प्रभावित होता है. इस हिसाब से you have to do the problems, you have to solve the problems. Probability, please remember probability A into union B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. Please remember the formula for conditional probability. Please revise once again the concept of random experiment. Its outcome जो कि event कहलाता है, mutually exclusive क्या है, exhaustive क्या है, equally likely, and then please remember these important formula. Theoretical distributions. So a lot of a long journey, at least I had a wonderful journey with all of you, and thanking ICAI once again, Ravi sir, entire the officials of the Board of Studies academic. So it was a long journey, and that's why I thought कुछ milestone जो हम लोग complete करते आए हैं, थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे last one slide at least we cover that. So theoretical distribution, please remember binomial, Poisson, and normal. Please remember normal is having a bell-shaped curve. It has zero skewness. Poisson is uniparametric, but both binomial and normal are biparametric. And for normal, therefore, mean is equal to median is also equal to mode. Correlation regression, we have done one problem today. Please remember Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient, which is given by covariance of x and y divided by the product of standard deviation of x and y. Please also remember Spearman's rank correlation coefficient, which is given by 1 minus 6 into sigma di square divided by n within bracket n square minus 1. And please also remember the regression coefficient Byx and Bxy and their relationship. And आखिर में index numbers की जो आखिरी chapter we have done, last one, Las Vegas index, code याद रखिए, fastest index, please remember the code, and the QST, the quick summary table, once again, simple aggregative, it is sigma Pn by sigma P0 into 100. Las Vegas price index, please once again remember that it is nothing but we have the code 10 by 00 क्योंकि यहाँ पे base year quantity is the weight. Fastest index, please remember current year quantity. Bullish price index, arithmetic mean of L and P. Time reversal test we have seen P01 into P10 should be equal to 1 जो Fisher's index पार कर लेता है. Factor reversal test is we have seen that the product of the price index and the quantity index should give you the corresponding value index. ये भी Fisher's index comfortably passes this test. And finally, purchasing power of money is inverse 1 by price index. Deflating also we have done. Splicing याद रखिए, combining सूचकांक जो है इसको हम लोग जोड़ने के बाद नई सीरीज और पुराने सीरीज ऑफ इंडेक्स नंबर जोड़ने की जो प्रक्रिया उसे हम लोग स्प्लाइसिंग कहते हैं. Finally, purchasing power, you can see 1 by consumer price index, and real wages is equal to the nominal wage or the actual wage given in the problem divided by the price index into 100. So with that, once again, thanking the entire Board of Studies, Ravi sir, all our tech support team members, the ICAI, Board of Studies Academic, for all the support the institute is providing to the students, the guidance, and to each one of the students who are part of this LVC. And please keep practicing. Also remember the calculator tricks, MR and MRC, you know, M plus, M minus tricks, and practice them. Last few days of the remaining before the exam, it is only a game of practice and polishing. So as I said, there is no shortcut abbreviation to success. It is always the hard work, smart work, which always pays off in the long term. And कोशिश यही करिए कि every day, जहां तक QA की सवाल है, at least 10 to 15, minimum 10 to 15 problems from different chapters, mix up करके handle करिए. Some from algebra, some from the, say for example, some from the statistics part, some from logical reasoning, and could be some difficult chapters like integration. And please remember that logical reasoning carries, 20 marks, statistics carries 40 marks. Logical reasoning appears to be the most scoring part, and increase both your speed, accuracy. With that, your confidence becomes very strong, ultimately guiding you towards the path of success. So thanks a lot, and thanks a lot to Board of Studies. With that, I will conclude the session. Wish you all the best of luck in the exam and a great journey in your quest for becoming a chartered accountant. Thank you, sir. And we are requesting Board of Studies, the tech support team, to please conclude the session. Thank you. Yes, sir. Over. Thank you. We can conclude, sir.